Let's continue with morphology, and today we will look at affixes. A-F-F-I-X-E-S. Affixes. You all have heard of prefix and suffix. So, what are affixes? See, we say human beings. That's a broad term, human beings. And then we say man and woman. Similarly, affix is the broad term, prefix and suffix. So you have two kinds, affix, the broad term, and you have prefix and you have suffix. You have what is known as the root. What is the root? The root is that part of a word which can stand by itself as an independent word. So we looked at kindness, and kind is the root. And we are calling it the free morpheme. We are calling it the free morpheme because it can exist independently as a word. So that's a free morpheme. But ness cannot exist independently as a word, although it is a meaningful morpheme. It is not a meaningful word. It's a meaningful morpheme. Kind is a meaningful word as well as a meaningful morpheme. But ness is a meaningful morpheme, but it's not a meaningful word. So kind is the free morpheme, that which can stand independently, and ness is the bound morpheme. Because it cannot stand independently, it has to attach itself to something else. So that is a bound morpheme. When you say unkindness, kind is a free morpheme, that is the root. Un is not an independent word, so that is not the root, but un is a morpheme. It's a meaningful morpheme, it's not a meaningful word. So un is getting attached to the free morpheme kind, the root kind. You can call it root, you can call it free morpheme. So un is coming before kind, that's a prefix. And ness is coming after kind, that is suffix. Prefix is a kind of affix. Suffix is also a kind of affix. So whatever is the root, things, those word bits which are attached before the root, they are prefixes. And word bits which are attached after the root, they are the suffixes. So in unkindness, kind is the root, un is the prefix, ness is the suffix. Now let's look at one thing more. When you have a single word which cannot be broken up into further parts, for instance, sit, stand, come, go, run, play, sing, dance, you cannot break these up further, we call them simple words. A simple word is a word which has a single morpheme. It is a meaningful word. It has a single morpheme. A free morpheme, it is a free morpheme. Now, this is a simple word. When two simple words get together, homework, classwork, teapot, inbox, input, output, red hot, cold coffee, hot coffee. These are compound words. Because two free morphemes have got together to form a compound word. You are free. In a compound word, you are free to treat either of them as the root. It doesn't matter. Because if I say classroom and I treat class as the root, then I can say class work, class teacher, classroom. So I can keep adding many things to class. So class is the root. And if I treat room as the root, I can say classroom, I can say bedroom, I can say playroom, I can say study room, and it can go on and on. So it is up to you in a compound word which one you want to treat as the root. The other, whatever you are adding, you can say classrooms. So class plus room plus S. There are three morphemes in this. Those are affixes or morphemes which are getting attached to the root class. So you can call them root, you can call them free morpheme, and you can call those additional bits morphemes, you can call them affixes. You can go deeper and call them prefix, suffix, and it can go on. Now, let us look at one more term, stem. What is a stem? A stem is any word that is presented to you. If I say come, you can call it a stem. You can call it root, you can call it free morpheme, but you can also call it stem. Then you'll keep on adding coming. So ing has been added. Even then it is a stem. Coming is a stem. Come is also a stem. Coming is also a stem. There is no problem in the use of the word stem. Even the root can be called a stem, and in fact it is sensible to call it a stem for some reasons which we will look at later on. Right now we only have to understand that it is okay to call a root stem, but it is not okay to call a stem root. Kindness is a stem, but kindness is not root because it has that ness bound morpheme in it. So kindness is stem. It is a combination of a free morpheme and a bound morpheme. kind is a root. You can call kind stem also, absolutely no problem. You can call it a free morpheme, you can call it a root, you can call it a stem. But you cannot call kindness a free morpheme, you can't call kindness a root. Because in kindness, kind is the root and ness is another morpheme which has got added to this. A stem can be any word that comes before you. It may have only one free morpheme come. It may have one free morpheme and one bound morpheme coming, come plus ing. In a stem, you can have more than two free morphemes and more than two bound morphemes. It can go on, there is no limit. Suppose I say ungentlemanliness. Ungentlemanliness. There are several syllables in this. There are several syllables in this, but you will find that gentle plus man, this is a compound word, gentle plus man. It's a compound word. Two free morphemes coming together make up a compound word. But what about you don't say ungentleman, there is no ungentleman. So you have to know what combines with what. We will do the bracketing system and I will teach you how to bracket it. But you have to know how to construct. First, gentle plus man plus ly. Gentlemanly. Then you can say ungentlemanly. Or you can say gentlemanliness. Then you can say ungentlemanliness. But if you add un and gentleman, then it will become nonsensical. It will go wrong. Okay, so unfriendly. Now on Facebook you have unfriend and all. But that's not there in grammar. That is nonsense. That's only fit for Facebook. So unfriend. But that's wrong. Grammatically, it's very, very wrong. It is friendly. So the construction has to be friend plus ly. Then you can add un plus friend plus ly. So how many morphemes are there in unfriendly? You have three morphemes. Friend plus ly. And you have unfriendly. First you make friend plus ly friendly, then you add un and you make it unfriendly. So this is how we build up those words. So we saw simple word having only one free morpheme. You call it root, you call it stem, you call it a free morpheme, single. Then you saw a compound word. Okay, a compound word has two free morphemes. Now let us look at a complex word. When a word has at least one free morpheme and at least one bound morpheme. At least one free morpheme and at least one bound morpheme, kindness, that is known as a complex word. A complex word is a word which has a combination of free morphemes and bound morphemes. It could be 1 and 1, it could be 1 and 2, it could be 2 and 1, it could be 2 and 2, it could be any number. Ungentlemanliness, you can see that you have, two of these free morphemes and you have any number of bound morphemes in that, that's a complex word. So a complex word is going to be a combination of free and bound morphemes. In the next video, I shall do inflectional morphemes and derivational morphemes, and we will see the difference.